Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel's Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video, I'm going to show you how to spice up these little gift cards. Now whether it's Christmas, birthdays, graduation, whatever it is, a lot of us tend to give gift cards and it seems a little impersonal. So what I want to do on this video is show you how you can make some holders to make them really cute. So on today's video, I'm going to use my Cricut Joy. You can use any cutting machine you have. It's just, this is here, it's easy, so I'm going to use this today. And then I'm also going to use just some scrap glitter. This is glitter cardstock, more scrap cardstock, and then finally, I am going to use some adhesive vinyl. And more cardstock. So if you are interested in seeing this project, then stay where you are and let's get started. Now here's the file that I'm going to use to make my gift card holder. And this is on Creative Fabrica. If you're not a member of Creative Fabrica, you can get a free trial version of it where you can download anything you want. And a really nice thing about Creative Fabrica is you get a commercial license with it. All right, so I have downloaded this file already. Let me just close out of that. I'm in Cricut Design Space, and then let me show you the file. So here's how it came in. If I double click on it, I have all these options. I want to use the SVG option. And then I know the one I want to make is number 3. Now that'll come back into play here in just a minute when I click on upload. So I'm going to say upload. Now I've already played with this file once, but I want to show you from the start. Upload image. Now I can either browse on my desktop or I can just drag it right here and drop it. All right, it's already in SVG. There's no cleanup to do. So I just say upload. Now that it's in my uploads, I click on it and I say add to canvas. All right, now one thing that's obvious is this came in huge. Look how large that is. So first I'm going to go ahead and lock the proportions. And then for now, I don't remember what size it needs to be, but I'm going to make it small enough I can see the whole thing on the screen. So with the proportions locked, if I put in 12 for the width, click enter, it's a lot smaller. Now here's how I figured out what size I needed it to be. I measured a gift card and it was almost 3.5 inches long by almost 2.25 inches wide. So I'm going to go over here to shapes and I'll pick a square rectangle. It really doesn't matter. Then I click on that, unlock the proportions, and I think I said 2.25 wide by 3.5 tall. Now that's a little larger than a gift card, but that's close enough. Okay, so the next thing that I did, let me make everything smaller. All right, I want to make sure this is grouped so that when I resize one, they all resize. All right, so the next thing I did is I took my little card and I put it right down here, just like if you were actually putting the card inside the pouch. All right, so now I'm going to click back on this. With it locked, I'm just going to start making it smaller until I think it's about the right size. All right, I think that's pretty good. There's a little spare space, but you want that. You don't want it to be hard to get down into your pocket. Okay, so at this point, I can just go ahead and get rid of that little fake gift card. Now, originally, I thought I would cut out one where you truly do cut out this snowflake, and then I thought I'd do one where I'm going to use the snowflake for a glitter sticker. And I realized that I think with this being cut out, when you're sliding your gift card down inside, it might catch on these things and rip them. So now I'm going to take a different approach. Let's go ahead and ungroup these. All right, this is the one that I want to play with. Now, I want to make a copy of it, so you can either go out and duplicate it, or I just hit Command-C for copy, Command-V for paste, and I have a reserved copy right there. Now, I want this to be solid, because right now this is a cutout, and I want this to be a solid surface. So I'm going to go to Shapes, get that little square again, drag the square over the snowflake, but not beyond the outside of my little pocket thingy. Select both of these, go right down here to combine, click on that, and I'll say weld. And you can see that got rid of the little snowflake. So now I want to make a cutout of just the snowflake. Now you could use this and then just use what was cut out of it, but I'd rather do it the way that makes sense to me. So once again, I'm going to go to Shapes, get that square, make sure it's large enough that it's covering the entire snowflake. And then I want to put my square on the bottom. Now if I select both of those and I say slice, peel away all these layers, I'm left with just my little snowflake. Now those are some pretty intricate cuts, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up to offset and I'm going to put a really small offset around it. I don't know that it's going to matter on whether it's a radius or a squared off. Let's just get a really small offset and see how it turns out. Let's start with 0.05. Once I put it in there, I can hit enter on my keyboard and you see it shows what it'll look like. That's a little bit large. I really just barely want for this to thicken up. So I'm going to put 0.02, hit enter again. And that's just barely larger than my original. Let's see what happens if I click over here. I don't know it's going to make much difference. So I'll say apply. And here's what I'll use as my sticker. Let's do this again. Let's go down to a 0.01. All right, I think that looks a little cleaner. I'm going to keep this. So I'll go ahead and delete those. I can delete all these excess things up here. And here's my file. So I'll cut this, this, and this out of cardstock, and then I'll cut this out of a glitter adhesive vinyl. So it's the next day, and now you know why I really use the Cricut Joy, because I could take it with me. So I'm cutting these pieces out. Now I checked between cuts, and some of them needed a second cut. So in that case, I sent it back through. Now when it comes to this adhesive glitter, I actually cut it a little too deep, and that's going to cause me problems later on. But I didn't know it until later on. Now I made my video introduction on day 1. On day 2, I was on the road, and so what you saw cut was what I cut with my Cricut Joy. Now I had to get that in the mail. So today I recut one on my Cricut Maker. And look guys, I forgot to get this size down to the right size like I showed you in the video. But I'm going to use it anyway. We're going to make it work. So let me show you how this goes together. So go ahead and just separate these parts and pieces. And I need to clean up right down here. It looks like it didn't quite get cut all the way through, so there's just a little bit of excess cardstock down there. Nothing bad, just the back layer hadn't detached. So I'm actually using different colors than what you saw in the video intro because I already use those. Okay, so to put this together, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and either glue or tape this to the back side of this. So I'm going to flip that over, and then let's make sure they line up, and they do. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of this Dollar Tree double-sided tape. Now it's too wide, so I'm going to cut it in two. All right, so I want it to be about that long for the sides. Then I'll cut that in two, and hopefully that's narrow enough. It might not be. I didn't get quite down the middle, I don't think. We're going to make that work. All right, those are very different sizes, but that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to come down just barely off the top of this little pocket thingy and tape that down. I'm not going to take the back off yet. I could see me sticking that to my hand or something silly like that if I did. We'll put this one on the other side. It's just barely too wide. You can barely see it there. It'll be fine. And then I want a strip along the bottom. Now, you don't have to fill in every single bit of it. You just need to make sure the card doesn't fall through the bottom. So I just cut off a short piece of this double-sided tape. Again, cut it down the middle. And looks like it's a little bit too long. All right, good enough. So with this double-sided tape, you tape the sticky side down, then you can take the backing off. It's just kind of a papery, plasticky backing. It's paper, but it feels like it's coated. It's a really kind of slippery backing. Now at this point, if you wanted to put something under this, like parchment paper, maybe wax paper, to make sure you have it in the right place before you stick it down, that could be a good idea. I'm just going to do my best to put the bottom down first, and before I push down, I'll get it lined up just as well as I can. All right, that looks good. Now, these are pretty fragile, and they could easily tilt in. So what I want to do is make sure that I have these sides lined up. Looks like it's hanging over the top just a tiny bit. I think I left a little bit of excess cardstock up there without tape on it. Not enough. I'm going to try to peel it back just a little bit and cut some of it off. All right, this time, hopefully that one lines up better. Just in case, because it should end up about the same place, go ahead and snip a tiny bit off. Okay, then this goes onto my coffee cup. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We've got to tape that down and line it up as well as we can. So I'll just fast forward through that. Now, one thing I didn't think about, since I have so much excess room, even if my tape extended above this little rim thing, that'd be okay, because this will stick to it and it'll make it where the card won't get stuck to it. So I'm going to put a wide piece down here. Now I'm going to finish off with my little snowflake. Now the snowflake was cut on the Cricut Joy. I cut a couple of them the day I was making these. Didn't know it at the time, but this cut way too deep. And so I'm going to skip over me fighting to get this off the backing. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I like that. So I'm just going to get as close to the middle as I can, and we are going to call it good. Ah, I ripped it. Oh my gosh. I'm using it. No one will ever know. It's going to be our secret. That's why I put that offset around it and used the offset instead of the original file. The original file was even more fragile or had more thin areas than this one does. I made it through. So let's go ahead and just push down. Make sure it's adhered really well. And then I'm ready to finish this up with either twine, which I think would be cute, or gold ribbon. I think the gold ribbon would match this, make it just a little bit more festive. All right, I am going to hang this on the tree, so I want the loop large enough that I can put it over one of the branches. And then I'm just going to put this in a knot, cut off the excess. And here we have our money card holder. So the little spacer helps some. Honestly, I think you could cut a couple of those and make it even a larger space, but that works. And actually having more space is probably a good thing. The other was a little bit tight. I love it. In the end, it worked out fine. I can put who it's to up there, who it's from there. This isn't actually the card that's going in it. This is just a sample to show you. There we go. Thanks so much for hanging in there with me. I appreciate it. And until the next one, bye-bye.